2 million people vaccinated. More vaccines are expected today. We're told 300,000 J&J. Those are meant for teachers and other workers within the education sector. But we're also expecting, I believe, about 630,000 jabs of the Pfizer vaccine, also expected to arrive today, and thus to boost the phase 2 numbers as far as vaccination is concerned. Let's hold them accountable, people. Let's hold them accountable to the promises and undertakings that they make. Really, the time for faffing around and being nice and polite is actually over. People need to start stepping up and stepping up this particular program of getting vaccinations going in this country. To this now, the chairperson of the State Capture Inquiry, the Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, has announced that he will apply for an extension of the Commission's lifespan. Zondo wants a 3-month extension until September to allow 6 more witnesses to testify, as well as President Cyril Ramaphosa. This, as taxpayers, what does this mean then for you and I? And if the extension is granted, what does it all mean? Will the Commission finish its work by September, for instance? To help us answer some of these questions is economist and activist in the area of governance. That's Dr.Iraj Abedian from Pan-African Capital Holdings. Thank you for your time, Dr. Abedian. The last count and the last estimation by the advocacy group Dear South Africa around April was that we had spent about 830 million rand on the Zondo Commission. That, compared with the revelations, the jaw-dropping revelations we've been hearing for the last few years, and perhaps the impact that has on governance, on a cost and benefit analysis that I'm sure you do all the time as an economist, are we getting bang for our buck?
Thulas, thank you very much, and greetings to our listeners. I believe yes, and it is so important that we proceed with this in order to achieve a few things, few important things in the area of governance and the use of public resources. Most importantly, it's important to note that, yes, we have spent close to 800 million rand, but we've already recovered close to 500 million that I believe we would not have recovered from the like of Mackenzie's and the amounts looted from other state enterprises. The second issue, and possibly more importantly to us, is that unless we get to the bottom of this type of cancer of looting of public resources by the ministers and their networks, by the CEOs and board members of state enterprises, we're going to look as if we're saving another 100 million rand or another 200 million rand, only to wake up and see we're losing a few more billions again. Remember, in the middle of the Zondo Commission, with all the horrific revelations, what has happened to PPE? What has happened to the Department of Health? What has happened to the Department of Energy? And who knows what else is happening as we're speaking? Which means to me, we have not yet really driven home the message to the powers to be, whether within the ANC, within the other political parties, at the local government, provincial government, or national government, that it is not acceptable, that it is not the way to call yourself a leader, a minister, a president, deputy president, mayor, etc., and loot public resources. So I believe there is every value to finish this job and bring out evidence that will enable NPA to hopefully spend less money and less time to collect and get back some of the looted money.
Are there avenues of investigation that you feel, Dr. Abedian, this particular commission, despite the extensive work that it has done, are there avenues of investigation that you feel have not been explored deeply enough? For instance, we heard a few days ago that there's a bit of a concern that the investigations, for instance, into what happened within law enforcement agencies such as IPID, the Hawks and the NPA, that may be, a bridge too far, or perhaps within the available time and resources, this particular commission would possibly not be able to fully unearth what happened.
I have no doubt, Thulas, that the more we know about the extent of this systematic, politically orchestrated looting of public resources, the more we will realize that there is still a lot more to discover. But at some point, we have to stop. Where that point is, I believe the Judge Zondo might be best to tell us what is reported to them, what they have in their pipeline, whether it's worth investigating or whether we should leave it to the government to come up with a new set of controls, a new set of accountability, not within the ANC, but within the government, to make sure that we stop this spread of impunity or culture of impunity in the management of public resources. No commission can go forever, and it becomes almost losing its credibility. At some point, the government, the cabinet, and the NPA would have to say, now we're going to strengthen NPA, strengthen Hawks, or add new legislation, strengthen SARS, in order to deal with it systematically and on an ongoing basis, as opposed to an ad hoc commission of inquiry.
Yeah, and Dr. Abedian, while you are on that point, is one of the lessons we have picked up from the Zondo Commission that it is possible to do exactly what you are saying, to be more systematic on an ongoing basis in as far as pursuing corruption is concerned? Because, you know, there is that temptation to say, if the Zondo Commission could unearth what it's been able to unearth with the result of the recoveries that you are talking about of more than 500 million rand from the likes of McKinsey and the likes, as well as some of the prosecutions that we have seen, surely it should be possible on an ongoing basis. Is that one of the key lessons we are to take from this?
Thomas, if you ask me, that is the way how it should be. Not just, we don't need to have a commission for NPA to nab these looters, who are still, by the way, both in private and public sector, are masquerading around and not getting put to jail and the money recovered. So I think what we have learned, as far as I'm concerned, from Zondo Commission is that our NPA is not strong enough. Our law enforcement agencies are not independent enough to go after anybody, from the president all the way to the average citizen, CEOs of the companies, contractors, local and international corporates who engage in the looting of public resources without fear and favor. As we speak, the like of McKinsey, SAP, KPMG, Anoj Singh, Marcus Yuste, all of them, they have stolen billions, and they're behaving as if they're good citizens. And NPA needs to get to do it systematically and not leave it to the Zondo Commission. Zondo Commission can only tell us the extent of it and the shameless way in which political leaders have engaged and chief executives and so on and so forth. But it's the NPA and law enforcement agencies of the country that need to be strengthened to do their job.
All right, thank you for that. Always a pleasure talking to you. Dr.Iraj Abedian, a ferocious campaigner in as far as the issues of corruption and governance in this country are concerned.